For most people, the morning sun promised a new beginning. For David, it just promised another layer of grease under his fingernails, a grime that soap could never fully wash away. His world was a rundown garage, a symphony of clanking tools and the heavy smell of oil. Every bolt he tightened, every engine he revived, was a small victory against the tide of bills that threatened to swallow him whole. He was a poor single dad, and the dreams he once had of being an engineer, of building grand structures, had long since crumbled into dust. They vanished the day he lost his wife, leaving him with only a pair of bright 5-year-old eyes that looked at him as if he were the strongest man in the world. For his daughter Lily, he would carry any burden. But some mornings are different. On this day, as David stepped out for a quick lunch break, the city's usual hum was shattered by a sound he knew all too well, the violent scream of metal tearing into metal. A loud crash echoed from the nearby intersection, followed by the screech of tires and a single piercing scream that cut through the air. People on the street froze, their faces a mixture of shock and fear, many pulling out their phones. But David didn't think. He ran. His heavy work boots slammed against the pavement, his heart pounding in his chest as he sprinted toward the chaos. What he saw stopped him for a fraction of a second. A sleek, expensive-looking black car was wrapped around a lamppost, its front end crumpled like a discarded piece of paper. Smoke billowed from the hood. Inside, a woman in a vibrant red dress was slumped over the steering wheel, motionless. A dark trickle of blood ran down her forehead, a stark contrast to her pale skin. The crowd was just a collection of helpless onlookers, paralyzed by the scene. David pushed through them. He yanked at the driver's side door, but the frame was bent, trapping her inside. He wedged his calloused, grease-stained fingers into the gap and pulled. A sharp, searing pain shot through his hand as the twisted metal sliced his skin, but he barely noticed. Gritting his teeth, he put his entire body into it, the muscles in his back and shoulders screaming. With a final, agonizing groan of metal, the door wrenched open. He carefully unbuckled her seatbelt and gently lifted her from the car. She was surprisingly light in his arms, her body fragile and still. He didn't know who she was. He only knew she needed help. Without a moment's hesitation, he turned and ran again, this time toward the hospital just a few blocks away, carrying the unconscious stranger in his arms. Before we see what happens next, take a moment to think about the choices we make. If you believe that one person's courage can change everything, and that heroes don't always wear capes, show your support by liking and sharing this story. Let us know in the comments what you would have done, and subscribe to see more stories that prove hope is always alive. Your encouragement helps these powerful messages reach the people who need them most. David burst through the emergency room doors, his face slick with sweat, his clothes reeking of gasoline and stained with her blood. "Help! Car crash!" he yelled, his voice rough. Immediately, 3 nurses and a doctor rushed toward him with a stretcher. They carefully took the woman from his trembling arms, their professional voices a blur of medical terms as they wheeled her away into the depths of the hospital. David was left standing alone in the bright, sterile hallway, his chest heaving as he tried to catch his breath. He looked down at his own hands, now covered in scratches and her blood. He felt completely out of place, a dirty mechanic in a world of clean white coats. He was just a poor man, invisible to the world. Yet as he stared down the empty corridor, he couldn't stop thinking about the woman in the red dress, her expensive clothes, the delicate jewelry on her wrist. It all pointed to a life of wealth and comfort he couldn't even imagine. But in that moment, none of it mattered. He closed his eyes and whispered a silent prayer for a stranger's survival. The minutes turned into hours. David knew he should be back at the garage, that his boss would be furious. He knew his daughter, Lily, would be waiting for him at daycare. The bills wouldn't pay themselves, but he couldn't bring himself to leave. It felt wrong. He felt a strange connection to this woman whose life had literally been in his hands. He had to know if she was going to be okay. He slumped onto a hard plastic chair in the waiting area, the adrenaline fading, leaving behind a deep, weary ache in his bones. Finally, a doctor with kind eyes and a tired face approached him. "She's stable," the doctor said. "She has a concussion and some broken ribs, but she's going to make it. You saved her life." A wave of relief so powerful washed over David that his legs almost gave out. He nodded, mumbled a thank you, and walked away without giving his name. His part in her story was over. He was just a ghost who had passed through her life, and he was sure he would never see her again. 2 weeks passed. Life went back to its grinding routine. David came home late one evening after a grueling 14-hour shift, his entire body sore. The moment he opened the door to their tiny apartment, Lily ran to him, her face lit up with a joyful smile. She held up a crayon drawing of the two of them holding hands. That smile was the only thing that could erase his exhaustion. As they sat at their small, wobbly table for a simple dinner of rice and beans, a sharp knock echoed through the apartment. David froze. They never had visitors. He opened the door cautiously, and his breath caught in his throat. Standing on his doorstep was the woman from the crash. She was dressed simply now, but she had an air of elegance that even her faint scars couldn't hide. Her eyes, clear and full of emotion, locked onto his. Behind her, a man in a driver's uniform stood holding a huge bouquet of flowers and a large, thick envelope. "I've been looking for you," she said, her voice soft but steady. Her name was Isabella. She wasn't just wealthy. She was one of the city's most successful and powerful businesswomen, a millionaire who lived in a world of luxury. But she explained that all the money and power in the world meant nothing when she was trapped and bleeding in her car. It was him, a stranger, a poor mechanic, who had been her savior. As she spoke, her gaze drifted past him into his humble home, noticing the peeling wallpaper and the little girl hiding shyly behind his leg. David felt a rush of embarrassment, suddenly aware of how poor everything looked. But Isabella wasn't looking at him with pity. She was looking at him with a profound sense of respect and awe. She handed him the envelope, explaining it was just a small token to express her immense gratitude. David's hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a check with so many zeros he had to read it 3 times. It was enough to change everything, to pay off his debts, to find a better place to live, to give Lily the future she deserved. Tears welled up in his eyes, but it was her words that truly healed a part of him he thought was long dead. "You have more wealth in your heart than I have in all my bank accounts," she told him. "You reminded me what it means to be human." In the weeks that followed, Isabella became a regular visitor. She wasn't just paying a debt, she was building a connection. She would help Lily with her drawings, bring them groceries, and fill their small apartment with a warmth and laughter it hadn't known in years. She confessed to David that despite her mansions and travels, she had always felt terribly alone. With him and Lily, she felt like she was part of a family. 2 broken souls, one from the pain of loss, the other from the emptiness of loneliness, were beginning to heal each other. Their story soon spread through the city, a modern-day fairy tale of the poor dad who saved the millionaire. It inspired people, reminding them that compassion is more valuable than any currency. For David, life was transformed. Isabella's connections helped him find a better job, one that used his engineering skills. Lily was enrolled in the best school. His dignity was restored. But the greatest gift wasn't the money or the opportunities. It was the family he had found. He learned that true strength isn't about what you have, but about what you are willing to give. He never asked for a reward, but life gave him back a love and a future far greater than he had ever dared to dream. As we finish this story, think about the impact one action can have. If David's journey has moved you, if it serves as a reminder that the best parts of humanity can shine through in our darkest moments, please take a moment to like and share this video. Let it be a source of hope for someone who may have lost their way. Your support helps us continue to share these incredible stories of the human spirit. And now, we want to hear from you. Please, Leave a comment below and tell us about a time when an act of kindness, big or small, changed your day or even your life. Your story might just be the light someone else needs to see today.